Let's Talk Steelers is sponsored by Italian Village Pizza, Lawrenceville Distilling. Enjoy their handcrafted spirits. Visit Canton, Ohio. Red Fox Winery and Lounge. Call Italian Village Pizza on Steelers game day and say, "Let's talk Steelers." And any size pizza is buy one, get one free. Takeout or delivery. Let's Talk Steelers.
Huddle up, Steelers Nation. It's Tank and Mike for Let's Talk Steelers from Italian Village Pizza Trattoria here at the Waterworks Mall. You know, that Commanders game going down to Washington, Mike, scared me because Washington, D.C. people scare me. Steelers Nation, though, turned out. They were terrible towels, and the Commanders fans had these red hankies that did them no good at all. Your Steelers looked good last week.
Well, you know, that's typically what happens anywhere you go in any visiting stadium with the Steelers Nation. The fans kind of travel very well. You always see it with the towels, and then you hear it again in the third and fourth quarters. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There is so much to unwind from the Commanders game. First of all, I told you a couple of years ago when Andy Weidel came over from the Philadelphia Eagles, I know he's got the title of assistant GM, that this guy is a football mind and will bring you solid players. Let's talk about him right away. Super Bowl quarterback, Super Bowl winning, I think 9-time Pro Bowler, Russell Wilson, coming into his own. Now, it wasn't his very best game, but you're seeing levels of improvement every single week.
Well, yeah, you know, you started the season with Justin Fields, who brings that element with the legs and being able to run the football. However, you know, Russell Wilson brings that extra element where he gets the ball just a touch quicker, gets it out on time. If you notice the past 3 weeks, you know, all three of his starts, he started off in that series with some sort of boot to Washington.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a naked, but he gets the ball out fast, get it out of his hands. The big play with Wilson, though, obviously, was to Mike Williams. Third down, they're bringing pressure. It's cover zero. That's where the veteran comes in. I think if Justin Fields is in that situation, he might turn around, backdoor, try to escape and run with it.
Yeah.
Maybe he might have been able to get it. But what Wilson did was by that time, get that back foot on the ground and then throw it early, get it up high with air.
The moon ball! And
trust your receiver to run underneath it and go get it. And because here's what happens. When a DB knows that your defense is bringing that zero blitz, that no safety help, he knows that ball has to come out fast. So most of them are typically playing around 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 yards, but they're squatting. They're expecting that quick game, the slant, or the quick out, or maybe a hitch. And he kind of squatted on Mike Williams. Russell Wilson put the ball up, let him run to it. And sure enough, when you get that big of a receiver, you know, now you have that threat other than George Pickens. Obviously, you've got George Pickens, but teams are going to start to focus doubling him. With the addition of Mike Williams, you've got an extra weapon that, you know, you get that one-on-one matchup, that jump ball. It's going to be tough to stop.
Touchdown is what it was. Look, it all begins up front with the Hogs. You know, I've been a little bit hard on the Steelers' offensive line, and rightfully so, the last couple of years. But I am loving the way this offensive line is gelling. Dan Moore, Isaac Seumalo, I love him. That guy came over from Philadelphia Eagles. He is solid. That whole left side is becoming solid. Thank goodness Zach Frazier came back last week. I'm starting to love there are a bunch of bullies up there.
Well, you know, you sit there and you talk about the O-line, but you got to include the tight ends.
Absolutely.
Into that. With
Absolutely.
and Washington. I mean, they are they're a valuable piece. They're an extension of the O-line. And when you can get that run game going, even if the run game is not going, the play action pass still works because you have the threat of the run.
But here's the thing, the run game is going. You know, they didn't give Najee the contract. Sorry, we're going to dangle it over here and see what kind of year you have. I mean, would you at home want to get in front of Najee Harris and try to tackle him? I mean, Najee is an incredible football player. He's having his best year to date. That offensive line is bullying people up front. The right side with Mr. Jones and McCormick, they're doing a good enough job. But once you get that offensive line solid, you now have Jaylen Warren back in the mix. He's finding his healthiness. Warren,
he got banged up a little bit this past week, but we'll see if he's available to go. He is a good 1-2 punch with Najee Harris, but Najee Harris, I mean, he's the guy that is the one that he's kind of like the Derrick Henry number 2 of the NFL. Derrick Henry, obviously.
Sorry, like Derrick Henry. He's the Iron Horse of Pittsburgh.
But the one thing that you know, he's got the stiff arm, and Najee will use the stiff arm. But the one thing that Najee Harris will do that Derrick Henry won't do is Najee Harris will just jump over you.
He will jump over you. You know, then you get in, as Mike said, with our tight ends. Not only can they block, but now you have a valuable passing weapon. Let's say they're running the play action. Wilson can go to those shallow routes with 2 bona fide tight ends. I was high on Washington when he came out of Georgia. Matt Kennedy didn't even know what he was doing or what he had in Washington. Now Mount Washington is a threat. That leads us all to who I think one day we're all going to be in Canton, Ohio, celebrating George Pickens' induction. You played with some of the guys, the best in the league, Terrell Owens, who are like top tier receivers.
Yeah, Terrell Owens. I mean, there's quite a few guys, but the thing is like he has a catch radius where you don't have to have the perfect pass for him. If you get it in that vicinity, that combat catch, he's going to come down with it. The touchdown catch he had this past week, the way he can contort his bodies. Typically, guys that big don't have that ability to have that body control, reach back and make those catches. And then obviously, where his biggest threat is down the sideline, over the shoulder, those one-on-one jump balls. If he can learn to leave himself a little bit more sideline, though, he's going to be able to finish those catches as well.
What I really liked, and the touchdown pass was incredible. Like Mike said, his ability to contort his body is surreal at times. But his little dancing step there to make the defensive, do you like that? To make the defensive backs move, man. That means he's getting comfortable and he's becoming a wizard out there. I just love it. He's becoming a complete wide receiver.
Well, the more he's able to do that, the more he's able to win those one-on-one matchups. You're going to start to see these teams start to double him, which is going to open things up even more for Freiermuth, for Washington, for the underneath passing game, even the checkdowns in the passing game. Play action pass. A lot of times, what teams do is when you as a quarterback, you come around, you do that check down. Teams will fly out of there and try to get soft because they know that's what's coming. That play action pass when you show that ball, and a lot of times the guy that opens up is the guy that you ended up faking that ball to into the flat.
I love it. We went down to Washington, a road game, and we took care of business, just like Elvis Presley, baby. TCB. Yeah, you never saw that? TCB on Elvis's? Yeah, you don't like no Elvis. All right, let's talk Stil'rs from Italian Village Pizzeria here on Route 28 Waterworks Mall. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Ravens.
Lawrenceville Distilling, proud sponsor of Let's Talk Stil'rs.
here at the Italian Village Trattoria, Route 28, Waterworks Mall, and Terra with Italian Village Trattoria has a game day special for you. All you got to do is call the Route 28 Italian Village Pizza Trattoria on a game day with your Pittsburgh Steelers. Mention Let's Talk Steelers TV show. And Tara, what's that special?
Buy one, get one, any size pizza, pickup or delivery.
Buy one, get one free, any size pizza, and all they got to do is mention Let's Talk Steelers.
That's right.
All right, you know what to do, so go get it.
Let's Talk Steelers is sponsored by Italian Village Pizza, Lawrenceville Distilling. Enjoy their handcrafted spirits. Visit Canton, Ohio. Red Fox Winery and Lounge. Call Italian Village Pizza on Steelers game day and say, "Let's talk Steelers." And any size pizza is buy one, get one free. Takeout or delivery. Let's talk Steelers.
Hello up, Steelers Nation. How would you like to win a trip to Canton, Ohio? That's right. All you got to do is like Let's Talk Steelers on X, Facebook, and YouTube. You got to do the trifecta. Let's Talk Steelers. You'll be entered to win a trip to Canton, Ohio. So I want you to like Let's Talk Steelers. You'll be entered to win a room night in Canton, Ohio, and a tour of the Hall of Fame. So let's talk Steelers. Welcome back to Let's Talk Steelers from Italian Village Pizza on Route 28, the Trattoria. You know, we're giving free pizza slices away. You want one?
Sure, I'll take one.
Go ask for one.
Go get one.
All right, it is Ravens week. The Ravens. I don't like them. They don't like us. And this game is shaping up. I mean, this isn't like it's a 2-5 team going against a 4-4 team. Number one, number two within division. Fortunately, we got the Ravens here for the first time. Let's talk about them offensively. You know, they're leading the league in total penalties, both offensive and defensively, close to 700 yards, Mike. Offensively, though, this is a dangerous football team.
Well, it starts with, Lamar Jackson. And I think, everyone's talking about what type of MVP year he's having. But I think where that MVP year is really coming from is Derrick Henry. Having that addition to the run game. Derrick Henry's, have a resurgence in his career. Obviously, a little down week against the Bengals. Bengals did a great job of stopping him. But a touchdown every single week. I mean, he's been dominant, and it's a little bit of a two-headed monster. The Steelers are going to have the hands full. They're going to have to stop that run game and force Lamar to try and throw from the pocket with a little bit of pressure. You don't want to just let him get outside the pocket and be able to make all those plays, but you don't want to give him all day. That's where Cincinnati kind of went wrong. They rushed four. The difference between the Cincinnati Bengals 4-man rush and the Steelers 4-man rush is pretty big. TJ Watt is basically, having him in there in a 4-man rush is like a 6-man rush, the way he comes off the edge. He's going to have to stay a little bit more control, though, because Lamar Jackson, you don't want to get him get outside and allow him to make plays. Maybe a spy. There's no one really is the receiving core, though, that you're like, I need to double. And Zay Flowers, he's pretty quick and shifty. Bateman's a big body receiver, but you're not not overly
Nobody
scared
scares
of them.
you.
Mark Andrews is the guy that can kind of get open with the play action pass, but no one's really scared. Even like Deontay Johnson now, and he hasn't been on film. He's new. He's been there for a week now.
Play him. I want him to drop balls all day long.
And the thing is, he's still going to learn a system. He came from Pittsburgh. Now all of a sudden, he went to Carolina. He had to learn that system. Now he's trying to learn, Todd Monken's system in Baltimore. Can he get up to speed on all that stuff? Is he a threat where you're like, I'm really worried about him one-on-one? I'm more worried about Zay Flowers than I would be about Deontay Johnson. So I think the key to the Ravens offense, and obviously why they're having so much success, is Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry.
Here's the thing, and you put some Heinz ketchup on this and eat it up, baby. Rosengarten, you know who he is? He's the rookie right tackle for the Ravens, and he's got to go up against TJ Watt this week. That's a heck of an assignment for a rookie. They got to get that big guy, fullback at 6'3", 300.
Ricard.
I call him Ragnar, like a Viking, man. 6'3", 300 pounds, playing fullback.
Well, he's like an extra offensive guard on the field. They're going to have him. They'll have Mark Andrews getting a little chip in on the way out. Maybe, I don't know, is Isaiah likely? Is he back or not? I don't know. But they'll definitely get Patrick Ricard involved.
Mike, you mentioned about spying Lamar Jackson. Let's face it. He is dangerous with his feet. If he gets outside that edge, you play the game at the highest level. Nobody ever spied you, I'm sure of it, that you were going to get around the insult intended there. But is it plausible to have Patrick Queen eye spy on Lamar Jackson? What does that do to your defense? What does it do to your offense?
Well, it's basically going to put a little bit more pressure on the secondary, in my opinion, because I think it's not like a typical spy where you can kind of sit back, play that middle zone, and watch. If the quarterback breaks contain, I'm going to go over and run and try to make that tackle. If Lamar gets you in space within, like that 5-yard range, he's going to make you look silly. So that spy is going to have to be a little bit more hug up against that defensive line, and as soon as he breaks, he's going to have to really kind of curve the D-line and be right there. You don't want to get him a vertical two-way go on you, because that's what will make you silly. So if you see him kind of hug up against the D-line, Lamar pushes out, he can kind of curve that D-line and use the sideline to his advantage, kind of push him that way. But what you don't want to do is sit back and wait and then allow him to kind of get outside and contain, square up on you, and then have a two-way go. You saw what happened with Cincinnati last week when he got outside the left tackle. He got on the sideline, tiptoed down the sideline. Cincinnati gave that game away. They had that one in the bag.
It was 21-7. It was 21-7.
In the third quarter, and then all of a sudden, Chase Brown, he drops a pass in that series, and then he puts the ball on the ground, gives them an opportunity with a short field. They capitalized. The Ravens would capitalize on that short field. And then, once again, the Ravens had them. It was third and 6, and they just threw a 5-yard quick out. 5-yard speed out, and it ended up being Lamar Jackson's longest pass of his career. 70 or 80 yards, some touchdown.
He was gone.
But it was a speed out, and it wasn't anything spectacular. They just jumped it, and he couldn't tackle. They did not make the tackle. The Pittsburgh Steelers need to play a little soft. Here's the thing: stop the run. Don't give up the deep ball. Don't give up the big play.
Stopping the run is what I really like. Look, it's happening before all our eyes. Cam Hayward went down to St. Augustine, drank out of the fountain of youth. He is ageless. He is having one heck of a season.
Well, they talked about that here, and Mike Tomlin actually challenged Cam Hayward.
They
talked about that in the broadcast, and he said, "Listen, I don't know if you can still play it for us anymore." And Cam Hayward stepped up and really he took it personal, but it wasn't in a personal. I'm mad at the coaches, so I'm just going to prove you wrong and show you that I can still play this game. So again, don't give up that big play in the passing game. Go ahead, give up the underneath stuff. Just make the tackle. Don't get fancy. If you make that tackle and keep everything in front of you, you have a chance. And to me, the Bengals gave that game away.
Yep.
You got to control the football on offense, control the clock, and limit Lamar Jackson's touches or possessions, I should say.
Add to that defensive line. Messing with Cam Hayward's head is kind of like you see these videos of people in Africa, and they go up and they poke an old rhino, and the rhino's like, yep. Go up and poke the rhino again, the rhino's like, uh-huh. The third time you poke the rhino, you get mauled. And
what stations are you watching, Randy?
I like Animal Planet. You throw in Big Bad Wolf Benton, too. This kid is coming along, Ogunjobi, and of course, you have T.J. Watt as we go into this game with the Ravens. Alex Highsmith, who is having a solid season, out with an ankle injury. However, Nick Herbig is back in action this week. I love this matchup with the Steelers' front seven defense going against the Ravens and physically pounding them and eye-spying potentially on Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah, and again, it's part of with your offense too. You look at how Cincinnati played that game. They were a little bit more big play. They threw the ball a little bit more. They don't have the run game that the Pittsburgh Steelers do. A lot of their checkdowns is their run game. But they kind of got out of that game plan a little bit more fast-paced, which you don't want to get a shootout with the Ravens. You don't want Lamar Jackson having those possessions. You look what the Steelers did last week against the Washington Commanders. 7 points in the first, 7 points in the second, 7 points in the third, 7 points in the fourth. If you can do that and control Lamar Jackson's possessions, you're going to win that game. And, you know, 28-21, 28-14. The Steelers, if they can put up 28 points with their defense, they're going to win 99% of their games.
All right, we'll be right back to Let's Talk Steelers, and we're going to talk some more Ravens.
Lawrenceville Distilling, proud sponsor of Let's Talk Steelers.
Let's Talk Steelers is sponsored by Italian Village Pizza, Lawrenceville Distilling. Enjoy their handcrafted spirits. Visit Canton, Ohio. Red Fox Winery and Lounge. Call Italian Village Pizza on Steelers game day and say, "Let's talk Steelers." And any size pizza is buy one, get one free. Takeout or delivery. Let's Talk Steelers.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Steelers. This segment sponsored by our good friend, you want that? Our good friends at Lawrenceville Distilling, makers of parking chair vodka, and they have absinthe, and they've got ginger, and we love the guys at Lawrenceville Distilling. Joe DeGroot and his brothers down there. They sit in a garage and they mix all this. They got their licenses, don't worry, but it's good stuff. If you can't trust the tank on drinking, then I don't know who they can trust. All right, the Ravens are coming to town. You know, I think Tony Siragusa, one of my buddies.
You got my purple and black on, by the way.
I noticed that. That's very annoying.
But it's not for the Ravens. It's kind of the new trend with the NFL guys wearing the mouthpieces, the color of the team they're playing. So I figured I should wear the color of the team that they're playing this week.
I don't like it.
Well, why are they wearing the mouthpieces of the teams they're playing?
Listen, let's get back to football.
You got to stay up to beat, up to date with all the trends.
I'm 100 years old. I'm not trendy, okay?
Okay.
I'm just not trendy.
Fair enough.
I am trending, though, on the Ravens. You know, again, Tony Siragusa, Ray Lewis, you think of those dominating Ravens defenses of the past. Will it shock you, Steelers Nation, if I tell you that, number one, the Ravens have the worst pass defense in the league. The Ravens are ranked 21 overall defensively, Mike. Really a shock, not the same old Ravens. I think they can be exploited this week. Russell Wilson, George Pickens, Austin is coming back. They've given up a lot of their passes, and if you go back and you look at the Bengals footage, they were up, the Bengals, 21-7 on them. They were hitting the deep ball. They were hitting the mid linebacker spots. In fact, they've let 5 guys throw close to 300 yards on them this season. They're giving up, and that's a bad thing with Russell Wilson in town now.
Well, the Bengals, you know, they were able to pretty much do everything they wanted to except run the football. They kind of gave up on that game early, you know, but they don't have, you know, they don't have Joe Mixon anymore. They've got Chase Brown, who's not quite the same. The Pittsburgh Steelers definitely have a better run game and that play action pass game. But what you look at with the Ravens is, like you said, they're not as dominant, and they have a new defensive coordinator this year. Their former defensive coordinator, you know, obviously first it was Wink Martindale. He moved on. Now it's McDonald, or he's out in Seattle. But they got a new defensive coordinator. They're struggling a little bit. However, when the game is on the line, you know, you still got some of those key pieces like Humphreys ripping that ball out of Chase Brown when it mattered most in that third quarter. They were down 21-7. They ripped the ball out, give Lamar a short field, get them right back in the game. So they are capable of turnovers. If Pittsburgh can control the clock, get up, play kind of mistake-free. Don't turn the football over. Play the game. Don't give Lamar those extra possessions. You're going to be able to move the ball. And you look at last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think the Washington Commanders defense is better than the Baltimore Ravens right now, just based off of the fact that, you know, you got Dan Quinn as the head coach, and he's a defensive mastermind. He does a nice job game planning, and the Commanders are kind of got things going right now. So the Ravens aren't the Ravens of old. They are becoming a little bit more of a offensive team and hoping the defense can hold on, as opposed to, you know, our defense is stout. Let's not screw this game up.
It's going to start with the Pittsburgh Bullies up front, that offensive line for your Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't see anybody that is dominant on that defensive line. You played the game a long time. I'm literally seeing them shift their 3 down linemen constantly throughout the game, trying to probe the castle, trying to find that weak wall. I don't think that lends itself to a solid game plan. It starts with the bullies up front. I don't want to get overly confident this week. It is the Ravens. Kind of, they say, all bets are off. You know, this is like a street fight in an alley in Baltimore. You don't know who's walking out of the alley.
This is when you come to a rivalry game. A lot of times, you never, you know, it could be, you know, an undefeated team versus a team that's not losing so much. When you get those rivalry games, everything
get it up.
It is a different game, and things tend to get a little closer.
I don't even like that mascot in there. You seen that mascot? That bird looks like you found it in an alley and it was dead. Do you ever see the Ravens mascot?
No, Edgar Allan Poe's in the Raven.
The Raven. All right, I'm Tank. He's Mike. Let's talk Steelers. We'll huddle up here again at the Italian Village Pizza, Trattoria on Route 28, Waterworks Mall, and we'll talk about the Steelers' victory over the Ravens. Here, try that. It's good. Try it. I'll try it.
We're from the town with that great football team.